Morning. Doing something a little different today. I'm going to take you through my day. Today might actually be kind of boring, except that I've got a new water heater today, so. I'll take a second and let this sink in. What is impossible with man is possible with God. If that's not a way to start the day, I don't know what is. Nothing is impossible with God. Why is that so hard to remember when we doubt that something's actually going to come to pass that He's already told us is going to happen? It's so easy to doubt. But good word, time to get ready for the day. Say hi to Hadley first. Hadley! Come say hi to everyone. Hi. It's my roommate's dog. Hi. All right, let's go. All right, time to get ready. Got that tinted moisturizer. Here we go. New clothes. Sorry, I couldn't let y'all see that. But now it's time to eat. So today is the first day that I'm actually trying out intermittent fasting. I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but basically it's this idea of fasting 5 to 6 days a week for a set number of hours and then having an eating window. Hi, Hadley. Hear you tapping everywhere and interrupting my video. And then you have this block of hours where you eat all of your calories for the day instead of spreading it out. You're still spreading it out a little, but not nearly as much. And what that does is it allows your body to reset and recover even better because it's not focused on digesting food every few hours. So we're gonna see how that goes, but I'm starting with a 13-hour fast and then I will gradually increase it. This isn't as important for men as it is for women. Men can actually jump into a much bigger fast, like a 16-hour or longer. But for women, it's imperative that you start out small and build because of the hormonal impact. So let's get started. Okay, so first meal of the day. Here's what we're doing. We're gonna do spinach, organic, unsweetened acai, half a banana, walnuts, vanilla, natural way, no artificial anything in it, and it's cheap. And then some moon juice, spirit dust. It's adaptogenic herbs to help with stress. We're all under stress, whether you feel like you are or not, and when you're doing heavy lifting at all, you are under stress. So those are for that. And this is not going in my smoothie, which is what I'm doing with those ingredients, but I am gonna take a little more than 5 grams of fish oil. The daily recommendation is 3 to 6 grams, and it actually helps with brain function more than anything, but it also aids in fat loss. So, keeping you lean and mean. Looks kind of like mud. Bon appetit. All right, so meal number 1 done. Hot water's back on, so I'm gonna do a few things around the house, and then I'll get back to you. Hey y'all. Welcome back to Real Talk with Rach. We're doing this a little differently this week because it just fits so perfectly with what I've been struggling with. And like I've said in previous videos, God likes to give me material for the next week's vlog in the current week. So I went back to Spokane, like I said last week, 2 weeks ago. And then as soon as I got back, this last week was nothing but busy, full, and actually very productive, but it didn't feel like I had any control over my schedule at all. And that's a total lie. I did, but it wasn't like normal. And I had so many good things happen, so I'm super grateful. But as far as like feeling in control of my own to-do list, I felt very behind, and I felt like I couldn't get anything done that I wanted to do. Any of the projects that I have been wanting to get back to or get started on or anything like that, I didn't have any time to do any of that. All I had time to do was the basic things that I have to do for my lifestyle, like go to the gym, and even that I didn't get to as often as I wanted to, and I felt out of control. And eating healthy, and there were some days that I had no control over what I ate because I was visiting my roommate's family, and no complaints there, but at the same time, again, feeling out of control was really difficult for me this last week. And getting back, Monday morning was the first morning that I had back to myself, really. And I read this devotional by Charles Spurgeon from his morning and evening. I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but there's actually an app for it. And the morning one on the 24th had this verse from Exodus 14, 13, and 14, and they were so relevant. I'm going to read it to you right now. It says, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." And I have been wrestling with this every minute since I read this, because it was so convicting and so exactly what I have been going through. And the devotion, the rest of it was just so real, and I just wanted to share that with you. It was basically about standing firm when God asks you to be still and not do anything, and what your tendencies are going to be when God says to be still. And those tendencies fall into 4 categories: despair, or wanting to give up; cowardice, which basically says go back to the world's way and retreat. It's a lot easier than doing it God's way. And then the next 2 are precipitancy, which is a word I actually had to look up, which means like impulsiveness or impetuousness. And that says do something, don't stand still. It's sheer idleness to wait. And I really struggle with that a lot. And the last one is presumption, or basically running ahead of God in a different way. Precipitancy and presumption are actually very similar, but presumption basically says, if the sea is set before you, march in and expect a miracle. And that's what the devotional said it was. But the point is that faith, when God tells you to do something, you have to do it in obedience and trust him, because he's taking you somewhere else. He's preparing you for something else. And faith doesn't listen to presumption or cowardice or despair or precipitancy. It listens to God. And in this devotional, it also said that waiting and standing still may yet be to renew strength for a greater advance in due time. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. I had this aha moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this waiting, this standing still, this perceived idleness is actually a gift. So I know that there are a ton of you out there who struggle with basically finding time for God, but truly, he is the most important thing, and he should be the one leading your life, not your schedule. And I know that's speaking to someone, because that was me for the longest time, and now I'm finally on the opposite side of the spectrum, where having nothing to do is killing me. And it's not for lack of projects, ideas, or the ability to just set out and do something, but in my heart, I have been convicted that I need to just do nothing on purpose. Purposefully doing nothing is torture to me. I am someone who has always been driven and ambitious and has a million projects, and God has asked me to just be still. And there's 2 more verses that I want to share with you in Isaiah. One is Isaiah 26. I believe it's 26:12, and I also believe that I've shared this before. but it says, it's 26:12. Lord, you establish peace for us. All that we have accomplished, you have done for us. So not only is he giving us peace, but everything good that we've accomplished, that wasn't us at all. That was him. And I know I've mentioned this before because my story very much relates to that. So go check that out over here if you haven't seen it yet. But the other verse I wanted to share with you is Isaiah 30, verse 15. This is what the sovereign Lord, the Holy One of Israel says, in repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. And that has been helping me through literally at least the last 2 to 3 years, if not longer. But since I was aware of that verse, and I just wanted to encourage you guys with that, because when it seems like nothing is happening, God is still working. And when you can quiet all the noise and just rest and be with him and seek him, he will reward that greatly. And he's doing amazing things in your wait. And I know it's really difficult because I am struggling. I'm struggling with this waiting and this stillness. The only thing I can actually do right now that I have the sort of like spiritual green light on is, like I said, the things that I'm used to doing already. But God's asking me to stand still and not resort to those 4 things, that despair. And he's asking me to basically be cheerful and rejoice in this time as a gift. And he's asking me not to be presumptuous and precipitant and run ahead or go out and do and try things that he hasn't asked me to do. And this is like this new level of trusting God. And I know that he's brought me through so much, but maybe he's asking you to do the same thing right now. And maybe this video was exactly what he needed to hear, to actually just do that, to let some things go and trust God is doing something in your time of rest. And allowing yourself to rest is a huge deal. God has actually commanded it with Sabbath, that at least 1 day a week we should just wipe the schedule clean. And that doesn't mean don't go to church or don't like do things that are enjoyable, but it says don't work, don't strive. Sabbath should be between you and God and those you love. So on the other hand, it could be that your schedule is too busy right now and you need to give your calendar to God. I used to be there too, and it was really difficult to surrender everything. So I know that there are 2 sides to the spectrum of rest. One is that we need to give our schedules to God and receive rest and submit to that Sabbath, which is actually a really, really beautiful thing once you do. It's just a new form of trusting God. And the other side of the spectrum is where I'm at right now, which is trusting that God is gonna move in me when he wants to move and do something, and that my waiting and standing firm is not idleness, because that is what drives me crazy if I think about it too long. So this is a new way of trusting God for me. But in the comments below, I want you guys to tell me which you struggle more with: the being too busy and creating time to spend with God, or the not being busy enough and struggling to trust God in that waiting period, in that waiting season, and giving all your plans to God and allowing him to initiate whatever he wants you to do when that next assignment is coming. And if you struggle with that, it's struggling with that waiting as feeling like idleness, or struggling with any of those 4 things that I mentioned: despair, cowardice, precipitancy, or presumption. So let me know below. Let me know what you guys are struggling with so I can pray for you, and just so we can kind of relate to each other and just start that conversation. But yeah. Well, that was fun. Now it's time to go get a bike. Let's go. So y'all heard of the Let Go app? I found a guy on there who's gonna sell me his bike. Well, actually trade me his bike in exchange for this ab belt that I got for a social media promotion. So basically it's kind of like getting a free bike. Pretty excited about that. Plus it's orange and it's a cruiser, and you can't live in this beach town without a cruiser. So here they are. It's gonna be this beauty right here. Let's check it out. Pretty good, pretty good.
Cool.
Thanks. So that was crazy. I went and got this bike, went over to do this trade, and dude asks me what I do. And I told him that I am a fitness entrepreneur. And I told him the various things that I do. And then I said, and I also have this video blog where I do kind of life coaching and fitness ministry. And he goes into the cab of his truck and pulls out a Bible. And we ended up spending the next 2 hours at this little restaurant on the corner. So I was like, oh, we got way too much to talk about to not sit down and have a meal together. So I just met this guy to get a bike from him, and we ended up having this amazing conversation about life and his story, and it was so beautiful. And I love the way that God works like that, and it's just amazing, because who knows how deeply that might have affected him for good. Maybe he just needed someone to hear him, and I know that it positively affected me. It encouraged me. So man, just being aware and being ready to be available and interruptible, it's just the best when stuff like that happens. There is more purpose in this standing still than I give it credit for. I'm gonna wrap this video up for now because it's already pretty long, but can't wait to talk to you guys next week. And I love you and I'm praying for you, and I hope you enjoyed this. Comment below if you want more videos like this in this format. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I want you to tell me how you found this channel. How did you find Real Talk with Rach? All right, ready, go.